What makes chunking so impactful for memory science research? Imagine trying to remember a long string of numbers or a list of words. It can feel overwhelming, right? Now picture breaking that list into smaller, meaningful groups. That's the core idea behind chunking. But why is this simple trick so powerful in understanding how our memory works? The reason lies in how our brains process information. Our working memory, which is like a mental scratch pad, can only hold about 4 to 7 pieces of information at once. If you try to remember more, it gets crowded and difficult. This limit has been known since the 1950s, when a psychologist named George Miller studied how we handle information. Chunking helps us get around this limit by reorganizing data into larger, more manageable units. When you chunk, you're not actually increasing your brain's raw capacity. Instead, you're compressing many small pieces into one bigger, meaningful unit. Think of it like turning a bunch of individual puzzle pieces into a picture. For example, remembering a phone number as 3 chunks instead of 7 separate digits saves space in your working memory. If the number is 555, 1 to 3, you can see it as 3 groups. This way, more information fits in your mind without feeling overwhelming. Memory researchers love chunking because it shows how the brain reorganizes information to make learning easier. When you practice and repeat these chunks, they move from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. This transfer is faster and more efficient than memorizing each piece separately. It's like creating shortcuts for your brain to access information quickly. Chunking also reduces mental stress during learning. When you're not trying to remember disconnected facts, your brain can focus on understanding and making connections. This makes learning more effective and less tiring. Plus, chunking doesn't just help with the information you're trying to learn. It actually improves your overall mental organization, making it easier to recall other related facts at the same time. What makes chunking even more fascinating is its versatility. Whether you're memorizing a list of vocabulary words, studying historical events, or learning a new skill, the same principle applies. It taps into a fundamental way our brains naturally organize information. When you recognize patterns and group related items, you're using a built-in system that makes learning faster and retention stronger. Another key point is how long-term memory supports working memory through chunking. When you see a familiar chunk, your brain retrieves a compact version stored in long-term memory. This retrieval happens automatically once you've learned the chunks, allowing you to hold much more information than you could otherwise. That's why experts can remember complex data. They've built a library of chunks over time. Understanding how chunking works shows us that studying smarter beats studying harder. Instead of trying to memorize everything at once, organizing information into related groups aligns with how our brains naturally process data. This makes learning easier, faster, and more effective. The real power of chunking lies in its simplicity and biological fit. You can apply it to almost anything, grouping similar vocabulary words, breaking down complex procedures into steps, or organizing ideas by themes. Each time you do this, you lighten your mental load, speed up your learning, and boost your ability to remember. That's why scientists keep highlighting chunking as a key strategy in memory research. It's straightforward, proven, and ready to use in everyday learning.